Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author, idiot, and loin streamer. And today we're going to go through a couple different items relating to generative AI. We got some stolen identities. We got some more idiocy from the master of idiocracy. And we've got some statements about replacing the normal people. It's not very veiled how much disdain there is for not just regular people, but in some cases for artists. And I have my own theories on this. I would love to hear some of your theories. But as we go through these, keep in mind, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. But before we get started, number one, if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Number two, if you would like to be featured on the channel, check out the links down in the description below. The number one way to be featured is through LMY, the monthly prompt writing contest, where I give you a prompt, you write a short story using that prompt, and on the first Monday video of the month, we read a couple of those because you guys are incredible. You always deliver. The second way to be featured is if you are an indie author and you have a book out or a book that is coming out. If you submit your first chapter and your cover, it will be read here on the channel to hopefully help more readers find your work, because your work deserves to be found, and it's hard out there. And the third thing is, if you would like to check out any of my books, they are available anywhere that you get books, including at your library upon request. Bodymore 3, which is called Grieve More Bodymore, just released on Halloween. So finish your Bodymore trilogy if you haven't checked it out already. At least you can get the full of that in case anything bad is to happen to me. Though there is at least Zero and, the Westies and the Easties. And there's some promise for stuff to come, because I got to share those wonderful babies. Now, before we get into the topic of today, I did actually check the P.O. box yesterday for the first time in like a month, because, look, I checked it at the beginning of October and there was nothing in it. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to seem needy. I don't want to seem expectant. So I'll just wait. And so then I did. And then my P.O. box was filled with somebody else's mail. So there is that. But I did check it. And so let's go over the mail that I got today. The first one is this little package, or yesterday, I should say. We got 2 copies of Hard Times by John Stevenson. Visits the channel. Thank you so much. Actually, I read a chapter of this here on the channel if you want to check it out for yourself and see if it is your style. And then go and support John yourself. A beautiful black cover with a simple green line. Thank you so much, John. And then it looks like a letter. Hi, baby cake. Thank you so much for this, Lucas. And actually, you know what? So there's a really nice letter. I could cry. There's a really nice letter in here. And if anything that I ever do or have done on this channel has inspired or uplifted or brought hope, then it has made any and all of the time that I have spent working on this channel, or, trying to talk to people, even when I'm a fool, it has made it all worth it. Because really, at the end of the day, the thing that I love the most is art and the community around it, and the creation and just the artist's spirit and soul. And if it can help somebody create or to find the hope again, then I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that I could do that. Thank you so much. This is unbelievably kind of you. I can't tell you how kind it is. So just let me know when your book's going forward. You got in here that you're working on your book again. And one of the things that I'm here to do, even though I know I'm really slow, I'm trying, okay? I've got The Bringer of Light. I know you're going to keep hearing the same stuff until I, do what I'm supposed to do. Bringer of Light, Saint Gregory, The Cold Dish, which isn't an indie, but Poison City, Llama with a Gun. And the only one of those that's not an indie is The Cold Dish. But I am going to try to read and share whatever I can. And I want to see the creativity, because every time I reach out, even if it's not necessarily my taste, even when I reach into a bunch of the indie stories and the people that reach out to me, it's always something unique. And I love seeing the unique ideas, the unique personalities and characters and perspectives. So if in the future you've got a story that you're working on or finished and you want to boost it, send it to me, let me know, and I will boost it the way that I can and try to help the way that I can, and possibly read it when I can get to it. Oh, Amygdala is also a new one that's been added to my list. So hopefully I want to read Amygdala in December. So I want to get through those other 5 I mentioned this month so I can read Amygdala next month, which the cover looks very interesting. So thank you again so much Lucas, and thank you, John, and thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me, for, I don't know, just not hating, for having fun, and for just, doing your thing. Now on to the subject. And I'm sorry to put these thanks on a video that is going to be about generative AI news, but also think of it as hope, because I do think that there is a lot of hope. Even with what's about to come in the video for today, I still see so much light, and I see so much desire to sow and create, even against what is operating against us as artists. So I hope that more than anything, the videos that I do that are about generative AI and generative AI news, which is going to include next week because I have gotten more articles together to talk about, and I don't want to wait another month before doing some of them. But I hope that you will feel the hope and the optimism even against these odds, because I don't think it's as hopeless as people want to make you believe it is, especially those that are stealing because they don't have respect for the craft, they don't have respect for the person who is looking at the art, and they don't have the vision or the mind to create the work of art. So I think your stories and your arts are special and individual, and nobody is going to be able to tell us what you tell us. So if you stop writing or making what you're making, no one will get to see what you specifically did. So keep it up, because you are not alone. You will always at least have me in your corner, and maybe that's not a great thing, but at the very least, I'm mildly unpredictable. So there is that. Anyway, on to the news. There is a lot to cover, some of it from the mundane garbage dumpster fire that is Twitter, and Twitter is an enabler of idiocracy and rage addiction, let's be real. And then we got actual articles to kind of talk about developments, different ideas going around in generative AI. And in case you're new to the channel, I've been covering different generative AI issues or topics as they've come up in the last year. So I've got a backlog of things to sort of watch it develop, and it will continue here. Considering we had a Shad video a week or two ago now, he has, of course, got to be the poster child for needing attention. I don't mean to sound extra, but I don't have any better way to say this. I'm sorry. So we got legitimately funny seeing how many, quote, self-proclaimed artists trying to dunk on me and my AI art when it turns out that they can't draw any better than I can. Many drawing at a level even worse than me. So what we're seeing here in this quote is that Shad thinks that being an artist means how good it is, which makes sense-ish, or how realistic it is. Good is kind of a misnomer, because you can have some really questionable art and still make it work. Like, if it was not in the other room, I have this comic book that Sam sent me that is just full of the most bizarre art that you have ever seen. Ever. But it doesn't have anything to do with how good at art you are. It has to do with the purpose, the intent. And Shad, having said that he hates drawing, makes him unable to be an artist in that visual sense, because he doesn't like it. He doesn't go into art with the desire to create and express something. He goes in for the output. So that is a complete misunderstanding. And also, then he is using it. So I've already mentioned the disdain. We're going to get into the disdain. But to go, oh, these people suck at art and they think that they're artists, my guy, that just sounds like such wanna cope. And two, you're mad. You're really mad. Yet I'm not an artist, according to them. Like I said, hilarious. So if somebody better than you, artistically, said that you were not an artist, would you listen? No, because we saw that. Seems as though if you use AI tools in any way, it invalidates your artistic ability, no matter how good it is. The bias is so extreme that it's funny. Yes, so you're not an artist for using generative AI because you're not doing the images. It's not that hard. The thing is, though, I couldn't care less if they think that I'm an artist. I don't need their validation to know that I am, or get great satisfaction out of the art that I'm making with AI tools. But apparently you do need validation because you keep seeking out other artists to get their validation. Like Ethan Van Sciver, like George Alexanopoulos, whom you insulted for not giving you his approval, and then went into a huge spat calling him not a real artist. When I'm sorry, but he is actually an artist. I just like exposing their hypocrisy and double standards and holding them to the standard they proclaim, just like this tweet isn't to get validation from anyone, especially my critics, but to see how they respond. Sits back and eats popcorn. Number one, you're disgusting, Shad. I've never seen a bigger cope in my life. If you're not making the art, you're not an art. This right here would actually qualify as artistic intent. Using a generative AI tool is not. And it's not that hard to tell. If I go and make a meal in my kitchen, that is me cooking. If I go to a restaurant and order it to be made for me, that is not me cooking. So that does not, do you see how that works? That's what we're talking about here. So using a generative tool, using Pinterest to search up a reference image for you to then post and say, I made this, does not make you an artist. And that is the equivalent of what generative AI is. Then you got this with his edgelord, the West is dead, long live the West. Yeah, and you're reanimating the corpse by just stealing stuff. So blame yourself. You know, I genuinely sympathize with artists when Shad started going out there and praising AI art. I don't think I do anymore. They're almost, to a man, dramatic shrieking prima donnas. And that sucks because I like a lot of their art. This is so insane to me. Like, think about this. Imagine a woman being held down and forced to have intercourse, and she is screaming and trying to fight off the person and saying stop. And in place of that, because somebody is forcing themselves on somebody else, raising Play-Doh over here is like, ugh, this is just dramatic shrieking prima donna. Like, just stop it. I don't want to listen to you say stop. Like, just stop overreacting. That's what Play-Doh looks like. Is when you are forcing yourself on somebody else against their consent, stealing from them, and you call the victims of your crimes the prima donnas for saying stop. Think about that. It's impressive how far they're going to go when apparently the phrase artist or the idea of artistry is stupid, but these political minded people came into the arts spheres a couple of years ago seeing an area for power, not for storytelling. Oh no, they don't give a crap about storytelling. They don't give a crap about characters, about telling great stories, about even talking about the stories that they theoretically enjoy. Because if you get too much into the business with these people, they think that it is a gotcha to ask people what is their favorite part, what they like about a certain story. I've gotten into that, and we'll talk about that more when Monty and I do the next ISOM review, because it's ridiculous. But I could go ahead and tell you easily what some of my favorite things are. Now, I have a lot of favorite things about the favorite things that I love, but that also doesn't mean that I don't have criticism for some of the favorite things that I love. I can go on about how much I love the Yakuza games, and I've really enjoyed and feel blessed that I've played them in the last year. The same with Red Dead Redemption, both of which inspired stories from me. And I could say the same thing about Disco Elysium. Does that mean that I don't have criticisms for them? No, but the criticisms don't take away from the enjoyment of the product, of the game, of the story. And I love the characters. I even love how insane Dutch is as a villain. He is a fantastic villain, and the change of him into the group. I love his character, even though I also hate him as a person. It's fantastic. But you can't get into it with any of these people because they will not actually discuss the things that they say they're fans of. And if you try to discuss, they think it is some kind of thing. I had somebody evoke the word gaslighting 4 times in a conversation about the stupid book they said they were a fan of because I had a different opinion on it. But they said reading a book, the entire point of reading a book is to come up with your own theories. But then when I did that, I was now gaslighting. Whatever. Anyway, so you have All Caps Comics here saying what people object to is the arrogance of applying the term artist to yourself. You are using a tool to generate images. They're lovely. You are no more an artist than Icarus was a bird. Fact check true. Matildo says, bro, everyone is an artist, good art or not, shitty art or not, everything is art. So now we're watering down literally every kind of any intent or no intent. Is everyone is an art, everyone is an artist. Everything is art. There is no meaning to art. If everything is art, then nothing is art. Nothing has to do with intent. Nothing has to do with skills. Nothing has to do with practicing. It's just all art. So why is it all of a sudden that everything is art when a bunch of people who don't care, who didn't practice, who just want to be praised for the bare minimum of flooding the market with garbage that they didn't even practice to put out, but now they want to use the term artist? It's just a label, they say. Then why are you so attached to applying it to yourself, you non-artists? And I am not going to die on that. Anyway, the final The final one that I'm going to talk about here is Cubist Gorilla. Why are there AI art haters? It comes down to one thing: fear. Human history is rife with tribalism, perfectionism, and all kinds of other isms where one group tries to keep another from getting what they have. Human groups instinctively try to hold on to their own stuff and keep others away from it. This need to exclude others is driven by basic survival instinct in some cases, such as food and shelter. There is only so much to go around, and your group's survival depends on making sure that you have enough. But here on X, where there are plenty of AI art haters, it's pretty certain that no one is starving to death. If you were, you'd be trying to get food rather than posting. So what is it with AI art haters that are trying to keep AI artists from getting? It's status. No. I mean, yes, it's stolen valor. Honestly, it's stolen valor because you didn't put that work in. You trained a bot with stolen images, which we can trace back. I covered this even a year ago when people were going after Sam Does Art and stealing his art to specifically train the generative AI. Yeah, you're trying to get status, which you saying that means that you know that you're just pushing out garbage that you didn't try to practice for, so you can push yourself off as an artist for status. That's what you want. It's not for the love of art. It's not for the love of expression, because you don't got a single thought that is unique in your head. Sorry, not sorry. Which is in fact also pretty important to humans. Lots of people say status doesn't matter to them, but the truth is that our societies are structured around status. Be honest with yourself and you'll see that at some level status has importance. Follower count or number of likes and impressions right here on the platform. And what's driving most of the haters is that they define themselves as real artists who have worked hard to get their status. The fact that worked hard and real artists are in quotation marks while this guy is talking about status and stealing images in order to build a persona of being an artist off of things that he didn't do really says it all. It is about status, and it is about lying to people, and it is about using other people's efforts in order to bolster your own profile and get popularity for things you didn't do. You don't care. You're not an artist. Cry more. That's all that I can say on that. We're going over to X's privacy policy confirms that it will use public data to train AI models. This came out back in, September? But I did want to bring this to attention. X recently updated its privacy policy to inform its users that it would collect biometric data as well as users' jobs and education backgrounds, Bloomberg spotted earlier this week. But it appears that's not the only thing that X plans to do with user data. According to an update to another section of its policy, the company additionally plans to use the information it collects of other publicly available information to help train its machine learning and AI models. The change was noticed by Alex Ivanov of Stack Diary, who has a history of finding notable updates in the terms of service of tech companies, having previously found AI-related updates in Brave and Zoom. His post is now trending on Y Combinator's discussion forum Hacker News. Specifically, the X policy change is found in section 2.1, which reads as follows. We may use the information we collect and publicly available information to train our machine learning and artificial models for the purpose outlined in this policy. As Ivanov points out, X-owner Elon Musk has ambitions to enter the AI market with another company, xAI. This leads them to theorize that Musk likely intends to use X as a source of data for xAI. And perhaps Musk's recent tweets encouraging journalists was even an attempt to generate more interesting and useful data to feed into the AI models. In fact, Musk has previously stated that xAI would use public tweets to train the AI model, so that this is not so much of a leap. He accused other tech giants of leveraging Twitter to train their AI models, even threatening Microsoft with a potential lawsuit for alleged illegal use of Twitter data. Musk also filed a suit against unknown entities for scraping Twitter data, which may also have been for the purpose of training artificial intelligence large language tools. In addition, Ivanov points to the text of the AI homepage, which states that while a separate company from X Corporation, it will work closely with X, Tesla, and other companies to make progress on its mission. Musk essentially confirmed the privacy policy change by responding to a post on X to clarify that the plan is to use just public data, not DMs or anything private. That includes if you post images. X no longer responds to press requests with a poop emoji, as it is following Musk's takeover of the social media network. Instead, we've received an auto response that says, "We'll be back to you soon." If that indeed turns out to be true, we'll add X's comments. So there's training off of your personality, the way that you talk, even so much as if you're an author and you do any of the tweets, the pitching contests where you summarize what your plot is, that's going to go into training. If you drop anything in there that is from your work, that is going to go into the training and the data set. So really just everything that you've ever done is suddenly being transformed into fair use by these corporations. They are constantly finding anything that you say in public and choosing to steal it from you when you're just the regular person. That is what it is. It's penalizing the regular person and stealing the work of the regular person. And these guys, this is why we talk about these people right here. They are all for stealing from you. They've made it. They're comfortable. And that's what they're doing. Over here, Apple reportedly cancels Jon Stewart's show over his AI and China talking points. Jon Stewart is best known for pissing off the right people with his nuanced political takes on his Apple TV show, The Problem with Jon Stewart, and it appears that he has also pissed off his employers. Stewart's The Problem has officially been canceled, and the reason why may lie in his views on artificial intelligence, an Apple project has been quietly working on. The show would not be returned for a third season on the streaming platform Apple Plus, the New York Times reported on Thursday. Things came to an abrupt end due to the difference in direction between Stewart and Apple, fueling the split. The Times says that Apple was feeling tension regarding Stewart's interest in covering topics surrounding artificial intelligence and China. Future topics related to the upcoming 2024 election reportedly could have caused an even further divide between the company and Stewart. Apple reportedly approached Stewart and informed him that he needed to be aligned with the company's values, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Stewart apparently balked at the idea of being sterilized by Apple. Taping for the third season's first episode was scheduled to begin in a few weeks. The comedian and political commentator is currently in the midst of a multi-year deal with Apple to produce content with his company, Busboy Productions. Apple did not immediately return Gizmodo's request for comment. Artificial intelligence has been taking the world by storm for bad and for worse, with companies like OpenAI ham-fisting the tech into every facet of our lives. Apple has been interested in the piece of the pie, and canceling The Problem over coverage of AI could be a way to keep the brand's name positively associated with the technology. So what's even stranger about this is that the regular people, the artists, the people who are being scraped for data, are en masse rejecting this. And it's a bunch of elitists who are fighting against the normal people who don't want anything to do with this, who don't want their lives invaded, who don't want to be read by technology, which is also kind of insane that somebody like Shad, who I assume because he's considered right-wing, would be against big governments and would be against corporations and would be against like a corpo-fascist state. But you know what? Who am I to guess? In May, news broke that Apple was building its own AI while banning its employees from using large language models. The wildly popular ChatGPT, Apple made progress on its AI endeavors in July, with the main AI framework being codenamed Ajax, perhaps a reference to Applejax, while the internal robot's name is AppleGPT. So this was published back on October 20th, so not that long ago did this happen. What are your thoughts on it, on the proliferation of generative AI into everything, in putting generative AI into predictive of everything? Just wait, this is how Minority Report becomes real, right? Then there was this article I briefly wanted to cover from Fidel, that is the transformative role of artificial intelligence in the publishing industry. So number one, because I'm an author and I pay a lot of attention, or more attention, I kind of keep an eye on most of the creative industries in different ways, but I'm only one person. But I saw this article a while ago, and I did want to cover it because we got the proliferation of generative AI and everything. We've got people trying to write books with generative AI, and actually are publishing books that are written by generative AI, and filling the marketplace with these completely unoriginal works. So what are some of the things that the publishing industry has been saying they want to use generative AI for? Well, the New York Times employs generative AI for content recommendations. Their recommendation system suggests personalized articles to readers based on their reading history and preferences. Associated Press utilizes AI to automate journalism to generate corporate earnings reports. They use Automated Insights Wordsmith platform to produce thousands of earnings reports in seconds. It's kind of funny to look at something like that. So going to the New York Times algorithm one, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people complain about algorithms on different apps and different websites because they click one thing and then all it does is like shove more of that one thing in their face, and it's hard to break the algorithm when that's not what you want to see. I even know, like, I click stuff on YouTube sometimes and then all of a sudden my page is full of just other stuff like that. And sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's really not. Bloomberg utilizes AI for its trading and finances analytical services. Their AI-driven analytics tool provides real-time market insights and trading recommendations. McGraw-Hill Education utilizes AI in education resources, and they offer personalized learning platforms that adapt to content to individual students' needs. Pearson, a leading education company, uses AI content creation, assessment, and grading. Their AI-driven tools provide instant feedback to students and assist educators in creating content. Spring Nature employs AI in academic publishing to improve the discoverability of research articles. AI helps categorize and tag articles, making them easier to research and find. Penguin Random House uses generative AI to analyze their manuscripts for market potential and reader engagement. AI tools assist in making data-driven decisions regarding book acquisitions. This is something that I saw an article on recently, and I don't remember if I saved it at the moment, but it's something to do with your book gets sent in and the generative AI, it's not even being looked at by an agent for the potential or for the excitement or the human element. It's just being read through by a program for its marketability, which is going to be based off of previous numbers, not the potential in the future. And that's going to really, if traditional publishing isn't dead already, taking out the human element from traditional publishing is really going to kill it. Because I can't tell you how many times I think about Cormac McCarthy. And like, he got his start because an agent read his work and really liked his work, and it reminded them of one of their favorite authors. And so they signed Cormac McCarthy, and they defended him for years, as his first couple of books were not really marketable, but the agent really believed in Cormac's abilities. So every time a book went up and then didn't really succeed, that agent defended Cormac McCarthy so that he could keep writing. And then eventually you get to the fourth or the fifth book and he had a major success. And that made all of the previous books also successful. So you never know what's actually going to be successful, but you also can't tell what is going to be a trendsetter, because a trendsetter is something that disrupts the current models of what is popular. So what is this going to do but sterilize the marketplace and to make everything exactly the same? It's just going to follow historical data. It's not going to do anything. And you're not going to be able to see any unique things and the unique voices, the unique perspectives of any of that if all you're doing is analyzing the historical data through a generative AI analyst. There are certain things that you just cannot outsource to computers, and it's insane the amount of things that people just want to ignore so that they can make more money. That's ridiculous. Hearst Magazine utilizes AI for content recommendation on its digital platforms. AI algorithms suggest articles and magazines tailored to the reader's interests. Wiley, a global publishing company, uses AI to enhance its education resources. They provide adaptive learning platforms that offer personalized content to students. National Geographic employs AI to generate user-generated content and moderate comments and submissions on its website and social media platforms. So just know that everything coming out of National Geographic is fake. BuzzFeed utilizes AI. BuzzFeed utilizes AI in its content creation and distribution. So BuzzFeed's not even writing its own content either. They use AI algorithms to determine which articles are most likely to go viral and optimize the contents for media. And O'Reilly Media uses AI to recommend technical books and learning resources for its audience. AI algorithms consider the reader's profile and learning history. So let me know what you think on using AI to try to analyze, capture trends, predict trends. What do you think? Now, on the advantages and disadvantages of implementing AI in the publishing industry, we got the advantages as claimed by Fidel.com: enhanced content creation. In recent years, I don't know. We're going to see what it means by that, because I don't think so. Publishing industry has witnessed a profound transformation in its content creation thanks to AI-driven natural language processing algorithms. These algorithms have redefined the way authors, journalists, publishers approach the task of generating written material. Traditionally, the process of crafting articles or reports involved a significant investment of time and efforts by human authors. Hours, days, and even weeks could pass before a piece of content reached completion. This posed challenges for fast-paced world of publishing, where timely delivery of information is crucial. AI-powered NLP algorithms have turned the tables, generating thousands of words of content in a matter of seconds. The acceleration in the content generated has revolutionized publishing by enabling publishers to deliver information to their, we are told, I'm reading this and I'm like, we are told in university, which who knows anymore because it seems like it really doesn't friggin' matter, but we are told that you are not supposed to plagiarize. And then here you go, you've got the biggest corporations with publishing being like, oh yeah, totally, just plagiarize other people's work because it's a lot faster than just writing it yourself. Improved editorial processes. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think so, but that's from a fiction standpoint. Because especially since I write in first person, and especially since I write a lot of not academic writing, the AI editing is not actually helpful because all it does is sterilize the way that you speak, the way that your characters speak, your sentence structure. It just makes it all formulaic in the way of academic papers. So it's really not good for anything that you want a personality for. Personalized content recommendations, so that's another one. Efficient market research. Is it though? Is it efficient market research when you don't have somebody actually identifying the data? It might be helpful to gather the data, but I feel like in order to interpret the data, you would need a human element to also look at the information, right? Streamlined translation and localization. I honestly, okay, so let me know what you guys think on this. I don't think that I would rely on an AI for formal translations of anything because AI doesn't understand nuance. AI doesn't understand metaphor. AI doesn't understand turns of phrases. And so a human that knows the language and knows the culture of the language as it's being translated is going to be able to translate the phrase better. However, if you give somebody who understands the language, the AI translated content, and then they have to fix it for whatever sounds weird, or you give it to somebody who doesn't know the language and it's just being edited by somebody who knows the language that it was translated into, you're going to very likely miss important key information. Things are going to be completely changed. And of course, when you've got normal human beings translating stuff, you can also end up with mistranslations, especially on purpose when people don't like what something says and they want to change what the message of it is. But that is a purposeful, malicious change, as opposed to this, where the meanings of stuff can get lost because the AI can't interpret it. Enhanced accessibility. In today's digital age, technology has the power to break down the barriers and make content accessible to everyone, including individuals with disabilities. AI technologies in particular are the forefront of this accessibility revolution, playing a pivotal, I just feel like saying disabilities is the weakest crutch that people try to use, because I've even seen Shad try to be like, well, look, generative AI is great for people that can't draw because of disabilities. You're going for the low-hanging fruit if you're saying this is specifically for that. Screen readers are another indispensable tool for individuals with visual impairments. These AI-driven applications interpret digital content and provide auditory feedback. Just say it's text to read, guy. Oh my gosh, this is trying to make it sound more than anything that it is. We've had text to read. Predictive analytics. In the ever-evolving world of publishing, staying ahead of the market trends and understanding reader preferences is essential for success. This is where AI predictive analytics capabilities have emerged as a powerful tool. I don't think that, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a marketing person. I'm not who does the analytics, but can you really predict where trends are going to go? Because I don't think that you can, because you're going to have stuff that just comes out of nowhere and influences everybody. Was the whole Fae evolution of how everything in freaking YA is Faeborn now, was that predicted? Can we blame the publishing industry for foisting Feyre on us? Let me know, because if so, we got to throw down is all I'm going to say. So we've got on the disadvantages side, quality versus quantity. Originality is another crucial aspect where AI generated content faces challenges. AI relies on vast data sets of learning, so theft, in order to go forward so it doesn't come up with anything new. Quality in this context encompasses factors such as factual accuracy, coherence, engagement, and creativity. That's right, because generative AI can only tell you what it has been told, whereas a human being actually can try to discern information. So if you tell me something that's a lie, I can listen to it and try to reason out if it's truth or not. A generative AI is just going to go, this was true, this is not true, and that's the end of it. In order to try to combat this, they've got human review and editing combined with a generative AI, trying to attempt to refine the AI, which I don't think it's ever going to get there, but that's because I write very character-driven stuff, and you cannot make a robot actually be a person. Like, they just don't get it. Again, they don't understand nuance, they don't understand personality or character or any of that, so it's never going to be able to deal with character writing. Quality control metrics, because obviously there's quality control when it's not creative at all. And then feedback loops where it confirms to itself. Ethical and legal concerns, as we've talked about 1.5 million times on here, when it's stealing, when it's derivative work, when it's can't be legally copyrighted if it's gone through generative AI. And then how do you prove that you have a copyright on it if your entire thing has been edited by generative AI, which means it's probably containing phrases that are not your own. Privacy and data security, because everything that goes into generative AI is scraped and stolen from private data. Dependence on technology, so the more we lean on technology or the more people lean on technology, the less able they are to actually do the thing. And eventually, if you lean on it so much to write your stories, to do your art, that's going to be a lost art form because you didn't even bother, you didn't find it important enough to learn. Bias in algorithms, yep, because anything that comes through the generative AI has been approved of by the text on the other side, and as much as you think it could give you anything that's been inside of it, the tech people can also edit the code so that it doesn't give you certain things. Oh, but of course it's going to talk diverse and representative training data to reduce the biases in auditing tools, ethical guidelines, and ongoing monitoring to make sure that it's not racist. Are you kidding me? Okay. Well, garbage take, my friend. If you want to read this in a whole, it will also be linked in the comments down below. But to follow that complete disaster up, we got futurism here. Sam Altman says he intends to replace normal people with AI. Comparing AI to even the idea of a median or average human is a bit offensive. As writer Elizabeth Weil notes in a new profile on OpenAI CEO Sam Altman in New York Times Magazine, the powerful AI executive has a disconcerting penchant for using the term median human, a phrase that seemingly equates to a robotic tech bros version of an average Joe. Altman's hope is that artificial general intelligence, AGI, will have roughly the same intelligence as a median human that you could hire as a coworker. It's a disconcerting assertion considering that it really sounds like Altman is looking to replace the work of normal people with a not yet realized AGI. And according to Insider, it's not even the first time he's said as much. In 2022 interview with Lex Friedman's podcast, Altman explained that this theoretical AI would be able to do anything that you'd be happy with a remote worker doing just behind a computer, which includes learning how to be a doctor, learning how to be a very confident coder. There is no way. It is insane. Like, okay, consider me biased. That's fine. I don't freaking care. Call me biased. But humans have a discernment that computers just do not. A computer cannot look at a human and all of the different symptoms that are going on with them, to hear the stories of the things that a person has gone through that then might influence what sort of illness they have, because illnesses have a lot of crossover of symptoms. And so usually finding out what kind of illness you have is a process of elimination because there's a lot of layover or crossover, especially mental illness. To be like, you're not even important enough for a human to care about you is also incredibly emotionally and psychologically damaging. I cannot even believe, You think that it's miserable going to the doctor now and you get maybe 2 minutes with your doctor and nobody actually knows who you are? Think about when you are not important enough for a doctor to see you, period. You just get a computer system that's going to misdiagnose you, and then these corporations are all going to have these these excuses in their programming that, oh, if you were misdiagnosed, it's not their fault, because they don't even care. Why? What is the point of this? Tell me what the point is and what the end game is for replacing everything with generative AI. Everything. You don't need to take care of people if you can just have a computer, so why even have a doctor? If somebody has submitted paperwork incorrectly, and on the other side there's the generative AI, it cannot explain to you what has actually been done incorrectly anymore than something that just goes, hey, yeah, fill this out. Okay, but like, what if I need to talk to a person about what was incorrectly filled out? There's no nuance. There's no ability to discuss things, to get to the bottom of things. It's not going to work, and I don't know why you would want to replace literally everything with a computer system unless you hate people. Like, can somebody give me a different answer to that? In other words, if you happen to live a median life, so if you are a normie, if you are a normal person, not an elitist of any kind, you deserve to be replaced and die, is what this is saying, right? Am I supposed to take this any other way? You could soon be out of a job, or at least that's one way to interpret his comments. Cheers to our AI future. And as Insider and New York Mag both note, Altman isn't the only person in the world of AI who uses the unsettling terminology. The phrase is present across an incredible number of AI blogs and was even featured in CNBC's article titled How to Talk About AI Like an Insider. Eventually, when we develop an AGI in earnest, reads a blog post from an AI startup dubbed Skipit, which seems to fall very much in line with Altman's median theory, it would display the capabilities of a median human but retain the potential to become an expert in the field, something we now consider reserved for the narrow AI. To use the word median specifically also feels like a distinct and telling choice. It's a squishy term that could leave plenty of up for interpretation. How Altman or anyone else could possibly go about determining a holistic definition of the statistical average is unclear. Regardless, such a quantification of the human experience feels in many ways dehumanizing and incomplete. It is dehumanizing. Comparing AI to even the idea of a median or average human is a bit offensive, Brett Mittelstadt, director of research at the Oxford Internet Institute, told Insider. I see the comparison as being concerning and see the terminology as being concerning too. I just see somebody here that wants literal slaves, but you can't enslave humans ethically. And so they're like, we're just going to make computers and then kill all of the humans that are not expedient to us. Is that being a little bit hyperbolic there? Adding that there's yet to be a concrete, measurable comparison of human intelligence within AI research, Mittelstadt also noted that the concept of a median person seems like an intentionally vague concept as compared to having a very specific grounded meaning. Besides the concept of performance and the much less tangible notion of human intelligence are two very different things. And as Mittelstadt told Insider, equating them doesn't quite add up. This is a hugely problematic leap to make, said the Oxford researcher, because all of a sudden you're assigning agency, comprehension, cognition, and reasoning to these mechanistic models. Mittelstadt isn't alone in his critique. One thing that current AI architectures and models have shown is that they can achieve basically typical human-level performance. That's not problematic in itself. Henry Shevlin, an AI ethicist and professor at the University of Cambridge, told Insider, I feel like when we get into things like intelligence, people are more touchy, and there are some good reasons for that. It's then arguably a depressing porthole glimpse into the thoughts of Altman, who exerts a tremendous amount of influence over the industry. He often talks about saving the world, arguing that we can use AI to solve climate change, bring about universal basic income, create clean energy, and so on. He also has declared that OpenAI's mission is to ensure that AGI, if it ever is to exist, will benefit all of humanity. He's not saying how many people in humanity exist anymore, though, just so you know. But of course, we all have the very different ideas and opinions of what saving the world and ensuring that everybody benefits equally from AI would look like. And in this case, that reality is defined by someone who sees much of humanity as quantifiable median figures ready to be replaced with AI. So, what are your thoughts on that? It's not scary at all, the way to talk about somebody like that. Briefly in passing, let's talk about how Tor, an imprint of one of the big four publishers in the United States, is going ahead using generative AI for its book covers. So, corporations are stealing art from small guys so that they can publish under their umbrellas and consider it fine. I think we need to find all of these books and start spamming their covers because they can't be copyrighted. So there is that. But they were told about this and said, and despite the backlash, despite the disagreement with it, Tor was like, screw you, we're just gonna move forward. So Tor Books designed the cover for Factual Noise by Christopher Paolini. During the process of creating this cover, we licensed an image from a reputable stockhouse. Sounds like a stock answer. We are not aware that the image may have been created by AI. Our in-house designer used the licensed image to create the cover, which was presented to Christopher for approval. Due to production constraints, we have decided to move ahead with our current cover. So, if you buy a stolen object and then get told that it's stolen and then decide to keep it, you're still using a stolen object. It doesn't relinquish you the responsibilities because you're on a time constraint. But hey, we knew that corporations didn't care about the little guy, and we knew that they would do what they want to benefit themselves. Further in the nastiness of it all, in September, actor Stephen Fry says his voice was stolen from the Harry Potter audio books and replicated by AI, and warns that this is just the beginning. AI may be a buzzword on Wall Street, but on the West Coast, it's the center of Hollywood's biggest labor dispute in over 50 years. Among those warning about the technology's potential to cause harm is British actor and author Stephen Fry, who told an audience at CogX Festival in London on Thursday about his personal experience having his identity digitally cloned without his permission. Quote, "I'm a proud member of the Actors Union. As you know, we've been on strike for 3 months now, and one of the burning issues is AI. Actors Union SAG-AFTRA, which has around 160,000 members, went on strike last month over pay, working conditions, and concerns related to the use of AI in the film industry." You know, how about not trying to steal people's identity and basically enslave them or sap them of their ability to make money? But, you know, it's not theft according to these people. As long as you're personally benefiting, who cares who you screw over, right? It joined the Writers Guild of America, a union representing thousands of Hollywood writers, which went on strike in early May, making the industry's biggest shutdown in more than 6 decades. A key sticking point for actors on strike is the possibility that studios could use AI to make a digitally replicate their image without compensating them fairly for using their likeness. So again, it's the corporations, it's a Hollywood trying to steal from the regular person without paying them back, turn you into a slave because they've just stolen your identity, your likeness, and what, you're just supposed to accept it? That's what some people have said, I've seen. Speaking at a news conference as the strike was announced, union president Fran Drescher said AI poses an existential threat to the creative industries, and said actors needed protection from having their identity and talent exploited without consent or pay. Again, there's so much evidence of people just wanting to exploit the abilities and talents in order to build their own profile and status off of and wealth off of stolen valor and practice. During his speech at CogX Festival on Thursday, Fry played a clip to the audience of an AI system mimicking his voice to narrate a historical documentary. "I said not one word of that. It was a machine. Yes, it shocked me," he said. "They used my reading of the 7 volumes of Harry Potter books, and from the data set, an AI of my voice was created, and it made the new narration." Fry, who has appeared in movies including Gosford Park, V is for Vendetta, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, is the narrator of the British Harry Potter audiobooks, whilst actor Jim Dale narrated the American version of the series. What you heard was not for the result of a mashup. This is from a flexible artificial voice, where the words are modulated to fit the meaning of each sentence, Fry told the audience at CogX Festival. It could have therefore have read anything, from a call to storm Parliament to hardcore porn, all without my knowledge and without my permission. And this, what you just heard, was done without my knowledge. So I heard about this, I sent it to my agents on both sides of the Atlantic, and they went ballistic. They had no idea that such a thing was possible. Fry added that when he discovered his voice was being used in projects without his consent, he saw it as just the beginning of an emerging threat to creative talent, warning his agents, "You haven't seen anything yet. This is audio," he said. "It won't be long until deepfake videos are just as convincing." We have to think about AI like the first automobile. As AI technology has advanced, doctored footage of celebrities and world leaders known as deepfakes have been circulating in increasing frequency, prompting warnings from experts about artificial intelligence risks. Fry warned on Thursday that those technologies only had further to go. "We have to think about AI like the first automobile. Impressive, but not the finished article," he said, noting that when cars were invented, no one could have envisioned how widespread they are today. Tech is not a noun, it is a verb. It is always moving, he said. What we have now is not what it will be. When it comes to AI models, what we have now will advance at a faster rate than any technology we have ever seen. One thing we can all agree on, it's a freaking weird time to be alive. Further showing, do you want to disappoint Nicolas Cage, the actor icon of our time? Nicolas Cage has shared his thoughts now on AI in films, as well as his feelings on the final cut and of his cameo as Superman in the Warner Bros. The Flash. In a recent interview with Yahoo Entertainment, Cage expressed his personal distaste for the technology, saying, "AI is a nightmare to me. It's inhumane. You can't get more inhumane than artificial intelligence." True, because there's nothing less human than taking something that is specifically human, that is artistic expression, and putting it in a machine. While AI did not play a part in Cage's surprise cameo in Superman in the Flash, the final scene was different from what he shot for the 2023 superhero movie. What I was supposed to do was literally just be standing in an alternate dimension, if you will, and witness the destruction of the universe, Cage said. Kal-El was bearing witness to the end of the universe, and you can imagine with a short amount of time that I had what that would mean in terms of what I can convey. I had no dialogue, so had to convey with my eyes the emotion. So that's what I did. I was on set for maybe 3 hours. In The Flash, Cage's Man of Steel is seen battling a giant spider as the multiverse begins to collapse, a reference to Tim Burton's axed Superman Lives movie, which the actor was set to star in as the titular superhero. When I went to the picture, it was me fighting a giant spider, Cage said. I did not do that. That was not what I did. I don't think that it was created by generative AI. I know Tim Burton is upset about AI as I am. It was CGI, so that they could de-age me, and I'm fighting a spider. I didn't do any of that, so I don't know what happened there. Back in September, Burton criticized AI recreations of Disney characters and his trademark style in an interview with The Independent, saying, "I can't describe the feeling that it gives you. It reminds me of when other cultures say, 'Don't take my picture because it's taking away your soul.'" And this is something that some of these people don't really understand or refuse to understand what they're doing, and that's why I use the sexual assault thing at the beginning of this video, is you are forcing your way into other people, stealing their soul for your benefit. And artists are saying, stop it. And what? You call it whining and screaming and shrieking? What was it? You call it shrieking? Really? Would you say that if somebody was breaking into your house and molesting your family? No? What it does is it sucks something from you, he continued. It takes something from your soul or psyche. That is very disturbing, especially if it has to do with you. It's like a robot taking your humanity, your soul. Which it also is interesting. So everybody that I've seen that actually makes art, and I'm not going to say everybody believes the same thing, because there are obviously a few people that deviate, but people that have been stolen from en masse, like Ghibli, like Miyazaki, like Sam Does Art, like a lot of these people that are these big artists that have spoken out against generative AI, say the same thing, that it steals a part of who you are, that it is this creepy machine reaching into your soul and stealing a part of your soul. And it's all of these artists that are being stolen from that say this. But the people that are doing the theft go, "Oh no, it's totally fine. I don't feel that at all," because you are not being stolen from. Your soul is not being destroyed. But how would Shad feel if Shadow of the Conqueror was ripped from him for somebody else to do something with? How would he feel if his wife was ripped from him for somebody else to do something with? That is what is not being taken into consideration by these people who are fine with stealing, because they are not being stolen from. They are stealing and having themselves be benefited by it. Burton later weighed in on Cage's cameo as Superman in The Flash, saying, "But also it goes into another AI thing, and this is why I think I'm over it with the studio. They can take what they did, Batman or whatever, and culturally misappropriate it, or whatever you want to call it. Even though you're a slave to Disney or Warner Brothers, they can do whatever they want. So in my latter years of life, I'm in quiet revolt against all of this." Note, the people that used to work for Disney freaking hate them now, because of the abuse they were doled out by these corporations. The artists have been abused by the corporations. Final thing for the day, to not end on all being negative, even though there's a lot of terror terrible things going on with this is there's new data poisoning tool that lets artists fight back against generative AI. A new tool lets artists add invisible changes to the pixels that in their art before they upload it online, so that if it's scraped into the AI training set, it can cause a resulting model to break in chaotic and unpredictable ways. The tool called Nightshade is intended as a way to fight back against AI companies that use artists' work to train their models without the creator's permission. Using it to poison this training data could damage future iterations of image-generating AI models such as DALL-E, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion by rendering some of their outputs useless. Dogs become cats, cars become cows, and so forth. MIT Technology Review got an exclusive preview of the research, which has been submitted for peer review at a computer security conference, Usenex. AI companies such as OpenAI, Meta, Google, and Stability AI are facing a slew of lawsuits from artists who claim their copyrighted materials and personal information were scraped without consent or compensation. Ben Zhao, a professional at the University of Chicago who led the team that created Nightshade, says that the hope is that it will help tip the power balance back from the AI companies toward artists by creating a powerful deterrent against disrespecting artists' copyrights and intellectual property. Meta, Google, Stability AI, and OpenAI did not respond to MIT's technology review request for comment on how they might respond. Zhao's team also developed Glaze, a tool that allows artists to mask their own personal styles to prevent it from being scraped by AI companies. It works in a similar way to Nightshade by changing the pixels of images in subtle ways that are invisible to the human eye, but manipulating machine learning models to interpret the images as something different from what actually shows. Nightshade exploits a security vulnerability in generative AI models when arising from the fact that they are trained on vast amounts of data. In a case, images have been hoovered from the internet. Nightshade messes with those images. Artists who want to upload their own work online but don't want their images to be scraped by AI companies can upload them to Glaze and to choose to mask their art in different styles. They can then also opt to use Nightshade. Once AI developers scrape the internet to get their data to tweak an existing AI model or build a new one, these poisoned samples make their way into the model's dataset and cause it to malfunction. So this is a longer article, so if you want to get the full details on it, it'll be linked in the description to read the full thing yourself. What I still find impressive is just how many artists can say, this bothers me, don't do this, don't steal my work, and then you still have the people who are profitizing, trying to profitize, and stealing, saying, no, it's fine, I can do whatever I want because you can't stop me. It is incredible to me, the people that will defend this as being okay, as they are stealing openly from other people to profitize off of other people's labor, and not see a problem when the subjects of their theft have an issue with that. It's crazy just how common it is for people to disregard the victims of what they're doing as just, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not immoral. It's not a problem. Everybody says that it's fine. Well, I say that it's fine. So who cares what you have to say when I'm taking from you? It's something. And I can't believe that, like, this is where we are, where the theft is normalized, where hurting people is normalized, where there's so much resentment and anger and hatred towards fellow mankind that people will openly defend harming others like this, being spiteful like this. And what is it for? All I can see in this is ego. It's ego feeding ego feeding ego. It's Lucifer's sin. And it's really sad. But those are the AI-related things that I wanted to bring up this time around. Obviously, had a handful of them going on. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below on any or all of the subjects today. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and don't die.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out?
The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him.
Cross isn't a killer. For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die. Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Way. Why? Did you do that? To the left, plain black letters read along the wall. You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right. My vision goes blurry, flickers black and black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me. Where the hell am I? You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?